Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are untangling a massive, honestly fascinating wave of recent news coming out of India. If you've been following Indian politics or even just scrolling through social media lately, you've probably been inundated by headlines surrounding one identical, highly trending acronym, CJP. But here's the catch. Depending on who you're listening to, those three letters mean entirely different things.
Okay, let's dive into this. On our agenda today, first, the tale of two CJPs. Second, the cockroach junta party. Third, from memes to the streets. Fourth, citizens for justice and peace. Fifth, the battle for human rights. And finally, number 6, the state of Indian descent.
Section 1. The Tale of Two CJPs.
Let's set the stage with the central mystery that's been literally dominating Indian headlines in June of 2026. If you were to walk down the street in New Delhi today and just ask someone, hey, what does CJP stand for? You would get two wildly different, yet equally serious answers, depending on who you happen to ask.
And this brilliantly illustrates the duality we are unpacking today. On one hand, you have the Cockroach Junta Party, which is this week-old Gen Z satirical political movement born completely out of viral internet humor. And on the completely other hand, you have Citizens for Justice and Peace, a veteran human rights NGO with over 15 years of grave procedural legal battles under its belt. Now, as an explainer, our goal here is absolutely not to take sides or endorse either group, right? We're just here to neutrally decode how both of these organizations are shaping the current landscape of Indian civil society.
Section 2. The Cockroach Junta Party.
Let's move to our first CJP and see exactly how this built up. We're looking at a movement that seemingly exploded out of nowhere, fueled by youth frustration, smartphones, and a very heavy dose of internet satire. The origin story here actually traces back to a single moment. On May 15, 2026, during a Supreme Court hearing, Chief Justice of India Surya Kant made a controversial remark comparing certain unemployed youth to cockroaches. Now, to be fair, the Chief Justice later clarified that his remarks were misquoted and were actually directed at individuals practicing with fake degrees, not the broader youth of India. But, well, you know how the internet works. The clarification didn't stop the quote from going incredibly viral, and it instantly sparked massive national outrage among young Indians.
Enter Abhishek Dipke, a 30-year-old political communications strategist. Instead of just posting an angry tweet and moving on, Dipke actually embraced the insult. On May 16th, literally the very next day, he launched the satirical Cockroach Junta Party. The branding was pure irony. They called themselves the voice of the lazy and unemployed. And the result? An absolute digital explosion. In a matter of days, the movement amassed over 21.9 million Instagram followers. To put that kind of growth into perspective, they rapidly surpassed the digital footprint of established, traditional political parties in India almost overnight.
But here is where it gets really fascinating. Despite their satirical, AI-generated memes of cockroaches wearing little suits, their actual platform is completely serious. Their 5 core demands ask for a ban on post-retirement legislative seats for chief justices, severe anti-terror laws for authorities who delete legitimate votes, a strict 50% reservation for women in parliament, the cancellation of corporate media monopolies, and a harsh 20-year ban on politicians who defect between parties. I mean, these are rigorous, legally sound demands targeting major structural and electoral reforms. It's internet satire wrapping a deeply serious political manifesto.
Section 3. From memes to the streets.
So how does an internet joke turn into a real-world force? Let's trace how this digital swarm evolved into physical mobilization, because this rapid escalation shows exactly how fast things moved. What began as a remark on May 15th became a party on May 16th, but by early June, this was no longer just an online phenomenon. Following controversies surrounding the national NEET medical exam paper leaks, the CJP mobilized its followers. From June 6th to the 15th, young people, some literally wearing cockroach costumes, took to the streets in multi-city protests in places like Pune, Lucknow, and New Delhi, demanding the resignation of the union education minister. Now, the government's response to this sudden mobilization has been intense, to say the least. Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan actually labeled the group the B team of terrorists, and the government temporarily withheld the group's X account following allegations of foreign interference from bot networks. In rapid response to that, founder Abhishek Dipke vehemently denied any foreign involvement, pointing out that their audience data is overwhelmingly Indian. He stated, "We are taxpayers, and you call us terrorists?" It's just a stark illustration of the severe political friction this new movement has generated in just a matter of weeks.
Section 4. Citizens for Justice and Peace. Okay, we are making a hard tonal pivot right here.
We're leaving the world of Gen Z digital satire behind and looking at the completely separate veteran NGO that happens to share the exact same acronym. Let's look at the other CJP. This CJP, Citizens for Justice and Peace, has been operating in India for over 15 years. This is a grounded, serious civil rights movement. They do not rely on viral memes or internet swarms. They rely on the rule of law, constitutional petitions, and decades of legal expertise to defend the rights of India's most vulnerable and marginalized communities. Their work is anchored by what they call their 4 pillars: minority rights, freedom of expression, criminal justice reform, and child rights. And these pillars guide their ongoing daily interventions in courtrooms and with constitutional commissions. They're consistently on the front lines fighting against hate speech, communal violence, and state overreach. Section 5. The Battle for Human Rights. To truly grasp how this NGO operates, we need to look at the specific procedural actions they take to hold authorities accountable. It is meticulous, often unglamorous work for sure, but deeply impactful. Now, what's really interesting is the sheer volume and structure of their legal engagement when you look at their 2025 intervention tracker. They are spreading multiple formal complaints across the National Commission for Minorities, the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, the Human Rights Commission, and filing direct complaints to local police and administration. They even file preemptive complaints to try and stop hateful gatherings before they happen. They're constantly mapping and engaging with the state machinery to ensure the rule of law is actually upheld. Let's look at a specific case study from our sources to really see this in action. Back in mid-2025, CJP filed urgent memorandums with the National Human Rights Commission regarding events going on in Assam. According to their documentation, border police were conducting secretive night raids, detaining hundreds of Bengali-speaking Muslims without warrants and forcibly expelling them, even individuals who already had court stay orders. The NGO stepped right in to demand an independent inquiry, providing first-hand testimonies to protect citizens from what they described as a breakdown of due process. And their battleground isn't just filing complaints, it's the courtroom itself. Right now, CJP is mounting a major constitutional challenge in the Bombay High Court against the Maharashtra Public Safety Act. They actively fight against what they view as systemic targeted harassment, vigilantism, and controversial state legislation that threatens constitutional freedoms. Section 6. The State of Indian Descent. So the crucial point is how we understand these 2 vastly different organizations operating simultaneously in India today. Let's bring both halves of this explainer together to reflect on the broader theme of civic pushback. We are looking at a truly fascinating dichotomy here. On one side, the Gen Z Cockroach Janta Party represents the new wave, informal, highly reactive, weaponizing digital culture and internet satire to force national conversations and mobilize street protests. On the other side, the veteran Citizens for Justice and Peace represents formal resistance, methodical, relying on constitutional petitions, courtrooms, and strict procedural accountability. 2 entirely different methods sharing one acronym, both demanding accountability from the establishment. Which brings us to our final thought. Looking at these 2 CJPs, one born from a viral meme, the other born from decades of legal advocacy, what do these dual movements reveal about the future of democratic engagement and dissent in the world's largest democracy? It seems pretty clear that as traditional avenues of expression evolve, citizens, whether they're veteran lawyers or unemployed youth armed with smartphones, will continue to find creative, unyielding ways to make their voices heard. Thank you so much for joining me on this structured exploration of a truly complex and fascinating topic. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.